Good morning. So we are here with a Camaro subframe. It's a new morning. Shop's opened up. Phone's on mute, so nobody can bug me. No business calls. No bothersome people. And we have this. All right. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to measure from here to here and see what the distance is for drop, because we need to worry about the lowering. We have a long ways to go. We need to go back to about here if we leave it this way. If we cut back on the frame, then we don't have to go back as far here. So I'm going to figure out how much room we have for lowering, because that looks about like 8 inches. Do we really want to lower 8 inches? I don't know. That's pretty low, but it'd look really cool. So I got to figure out how I can figure this all out so that I am no longer fighting what I'm doing. I'm fighting myself, it seems like, so we need to stop that. But the next sit will be permanent, I think. We're going to trim these ears off. You see how they're sticking way out? It gouged me yesterday, so we're cutting those off. We don't need those. So I'll pull the subframe back out. And we will take a bunch of measurements again, see what we can do. New day. Alright, so when we had the subframe in here, you can see that subframe hit right about in here somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and cut right there, because we know we're going to have to go in farther. So we're going to cut. So this is body mounts. And there's no worry. I mean, we can add to it later, not a big deal. But this is a big chunk that just on either side of the frame. And so we can cut this out and up here. And then I can fish plate this if we need to later, if it's wobbly or anything. But right now, I think it's perfectly fine. We can take care of that later. So right now, I'm going to cut this right out, straight down to the center. And hopefully that's enough to clear. I'll measure it and make sure. Same with the other side. Double check the ID of the frame and make sure it clears, because then we should be good. I want to do that before we get going on cutting more of that. I laid out the frame. We're going to take 3 inches out of here. I wrote it down there. And I think we're going to test fit that first and see how we look. So once that's gone, we'll check in a second. That's how we're looking for the drop. I kind of like it. I like how low it's going to sit. So I'm kind of thinking that I want to slide that turd back 5 inches. But if we take some of that out of there, that's less we have to cut out of the tunnel for the transmission. That engine's going to sit in there. It's going to be hard to clear that transmission. I'll have to cut some out of the body to make it work. I think we would anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Nothing a plasma cutter can't fix. Alright. So, we took another 4 inches off. We're going to see how this works. Let's go. Alright, so we got set the windows nice and level, so the car should be pretty close to level. Now we can insert the frame and make sure it's level. It's worked in the past, so I'm going to go back to old reliable. Now I got to figure out how to space that so that I'm not fighting with this frame. Yeah. Oh, great. All right. So we got to move back because here's our mark for our wheelbase. obviously we're off. So we need to move back a couple more inches still. I'm going to double check the wheelbase measurement real quick. Mustache is in my mouth. We're sitting on 6 inches. But that set us as level. So we kind of know, I mean, the angle's not that far off, but I think I'm going to trim to fit pretty much. It'll be okay. So a couple more inches of trimming. We should be able to set the front clip and see if how we sit. That'll be exciting. I'm just going to tack this really good. Tack the ever-living hell out of it once I get it set. Before I box it all in. But as you can tell, obviously it's going to go up quite a ways because of the wheels. Kind of bummed about that, but hopefully it doesn't look too bad. I thought it'd give us a lot more drop. It's 5 inches of lowering, I think it would. But we'll see. Oh, here we go. We had to trim some of the fender out because we were not clearing by any means. We have the front end up a little bit higher, so it'll be actually closer than what it looks on both sides. Got the frame stitched in. It's not going anywhere. We'll box that in once we know everything fits. But right now, we are hitting that frame rail right there. So I'm going to come in with the Sawzall and cut right there on both sides. Get this body sitting where it's supposed to sit. And then I'm calling it a day. Alright, that's how she sits. Pretty close anyways. We got a little more trimming to do on the frame. The front frame rails, I can cut those back more when I can take that clip back off. She sits rather low. Not super low, but rather low. But I'm calling it a day. It's been a long morning. Yep. Well, happy Monday morning. We are fixing and boxing in a frame. So we got cleanup to do here on the steel. Get this all nice and clean. We would need to get this completely ground off. Should have done that before, but I kept putting it off. And then we got to figure out what to do with this, because we got to cut all that out and make it look good still. So that's what we're doing today. Got both sides to do, so lots of grinding, lots of cardboard templates, and thinking about cutting out that rest of that floorboard just for shits and giggles. A little more lighting, I guess. We'll see. Alright, you'll get to know me that I like to overbuild things. So, granted, I'm molding on rust, so they're not exactly pretty, but I'm gusseting here, filling in that void. I'm going to continue to do that, and then I'm going to put another gusset that comes from here to completely fill this whole thing in. Solid. I want it complete. I don't want it going anywhere. Then we'll figure out what we're going to do there. I'll keep you posted. Alright, so here's the outside. Now, granted, this is a Ratrod, and my first time doing this, so if it wasn't, if this was something like wanting to look good and pretty, I would clean all this scale off. I would completely clean these frames anyways. This would be white steel, which is that color. So, this is just trial, and it will hold. It's just, you know, I'll rattle can it after it's all done, because we don't care. This is a Ratrod. I'm going to work on the inside now. The inside, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to build a gusset here, and then we're going to plate right up to here again. We're not going to go out here because it's obviously offset, so we're just going to plate to here. I think I might trim this down, grind it down so that it's flush with the outer frame rim. Yeah, and then we got to figure out what we're going to do, because this is garbage. I mean, it's going to hold true now because we're stitched, but we might take that cross member out completely. Just rip the rivet remover and cut it out. It's not going anywhere now. And we're going to have to figure out the transmission still, so it might work out to our benefit. But we'll see. Maybe we'll just cut it right here. And then here, just cut these bars out. We'll take a look at that here in a little while. Probably overlook it right now. We'll be back. So there's our finished boxed in project. It's all welded fully. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it up, wrap it, and so that's going to be all one solid piece, just welded all together. Can't get much stronger than that. So I'll go ahead and do that. Then I'm going to set the engine and see how it looks. I think I got to cut the firewall out first, actually. I'll take that back. So I'll cut the firewall out. All right, so we're all boxed in. I had to cut the wall out, the floor out, everything out. We're empty here. So I'm gonna get the kids to pull the seats out and see how bad this floor is, because it's way back here. And I'll figure out how I'm gonna fix that. Right now, I guess I'll rest my foot on the transmission. But engine's in, transmission's in, we're in. So now I'm gonna sit the front clip on here and see how it looks. See what kind of clearance we have, and yada, 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 yada. Cool, cool, choo. Let's do this. All right, everybody. We got the front clip on and the engine's in. But we have room back here a little bit, and we don't have any room up here. See where the radiator's supposed to sit, and the fan's right there where it's supposed to be. So what we're gonna do is, I love rat rods. We're going to take that motor mount, put the bolt in it after we unbolt those from the frame, clean that whole frame off, and we're gonna weld a piece of, or drill holes to mount a piece of 1/4 inch flat bar. Then we are going to slide it back as far as we can with the transmission still sitting on the transmission mount. Is give us as much room as we can, because we cut a lot out there, so we can move it back quite about an inch or two, about 2 inches. We'll tuck that distributor back there because Chevy's dumb and they put the distributor in the back. But we'll be able to access it. It's okay. I know tricks. Then we'll figure out if we have room for a radiator. Radiator can go there. Yeah, that's right in there. And then we have the other problem. Climb under here. Our radiator support there is sitting on the sway bar. So we got to figure out what we're going to do to fix that problem. I will be thinking about that overnight. Then we have the starter here. The starter sits in the back bolt, which is right here. So you got 3 inches of extra. Granted, it's pretty straight on the frame. There's the top bolt that I just pointed to, and we don't have 3 inches. You see that problem? You see it? You see it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the front clip off, figure out what I'm going to do about this issue. Then I'm going to install the starter and make this where we can turn this son of a bitch, and set the engine tomorrow morning. Then we will fix this issue, hopefully, if I can figure something out. Or we'll be replacing this and getting it out of here just for kicks and giggles, and put something else in here, because we have a lot of room in that hood. Ugh. So, we're at another stopping point. I got some other work to do, so I'll get back to you and we will start another video for continuing this. Hey, we also need to get rid of this garbage. I think Hercules or Godzilla put that thing on because I can't break those bolts loose at all. So we'll see what we can do. All right, guys. Check you later. All right, so we got one mount off. Chevy's dumb, and they put the nut in the backside where it's barely reachable. So we're going to cut these bitches off because we ain't fucking around. And I want this thing done, damn it. So we're going to get to it. All right, this is going a little slower than I was hoping, but we moved the motor mounts back. We're very close to the firewall. You can still get the distributor out. Go to electric fan, we can still run a radiator. We're gonna have to make a new mount anyway, so it's not a big deal. Steering box is in. Everything's cut around it because it sucks. Steering column needs to go in. The one I have is a truck one. It's freaking long. Don't think I want to go with it. I was planning on trying to put the bumper on, but we don't have this down where I want it. I don't like it yet. So we need to fiddle fart and trim a little bit more off. See what kind of radiators I got in the back room. Alright, so we got this big beast. We got that one. We got that one. Don't think either of those two are going to fit. This one might work. We might have to make it work. That doesn't look good. I don't think that's supposed to be like that. So maybe not. So maybe I'll look for an aluminum one, eh? Oh, we got that little one too. So I'll take some measurements, see what we can fit, and go from there.